Check it. My brother Logic used to smack the morons, the ones that were smart plus their names made for nothing more than oxymorons. Lodge overdosed. His heart could take no more raging, so now he's a corpse, getting grosser as he keeps aging. But fuck it. I'm the fucking Grand Devil! Out of the good shit, but the Prince of Darkness stays level stacking money and hoes, and souls of mankind, possessing bitches and bling, and everyone's mine. Lucifer Satan. The 18th.
What kind of eulogy was that, you douche?
To hell with you, I'm on fire today.
Prophet Muhammad, I believe I have come up with the perfect plan to destroy the infidel Logic. Oh, famu, little devil. You are going to love this. It's positively diabolical. The Oracle of Toronto hates Logic. She will tell us what to do.
Oui, très bien, Mephistopheles. We shall begin our journey momentarily. But first we must stop at the boulangerie. I feel in need of a croissant and a cup of the, café.
Oh, my ventricles. Oh, god damn it. Heaven. Must have been another heart attack. I really need to stop eating so many goldfish.
Hello, Logic. I've been waiting for you.
Oh, okay. So what are we doing?
You don't have any questions about that?
Nah.
Alright then, let's get to it. Look over there. Do you see that fundy bumping into the wall?
I love Jesus. I love God.
Yeah.
That's just what they do up here. But well, they are doomed to bump into walls for eternity. People like you and I are different. You see, due to our large and powerful brains, we aliens can communicate with the living world from heaven. And with the large brain that resides inside your top hat, you can do the same thing. And that's what I've been up here waiting to tell you since I got done building the pyramids.
You waited up here since the time of the building of the pyramids to tell me that? Seems like kind of a waste of time for something that's really just a stupid plot device.
Oh, definitely. But this is heaven. Wasting time is what it's here for.
Alright, well, let me give this thing a try. And you know what? After seeing that funny bumping into the walls, I think I know just who I want to talk to.
Greetings again. I'm Chemist John Morris Pendleton.
Hey, it works!
And this is our
13th
and final conference
What are you talking about? This isn't our final conference.
about dinosaurs.
Oh, the 13th and final conference about dinosaurs. Well, this isn't the 13th one of those either, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Behold now Behemoth. He moves his tail like a cedar. What's a cedar? It's a tree. Is this what the tail of a hippopotamus or elephant look like? They really don't. Well, it sounds to me like a brachiosaurus, a dinosaur.
Alright, I'm going to read about the behemoth, and then we'll discuss. From the King James Version, Job 40:15-24. Behold now behemoth, which I made with the... You know what, I'm going to try and do sort of a Yahweh impression here, because my normal voice just doesn't have the gravitas that this requires.
Behold now Behemoth, which I made with thee. He eateth grass as an ox. Lo now his strength is in his loins, and his force is in the navel of his belly. He moveth his tail like a cedar. The sinews of his stones are wrapped together. His bones are as strong pieces of brass. His bones are like bars of iron. He is the chief of the ways of God. He that made him can make his sword to approach unto him. Surely the mountains bring him forth food, where all the beasts of the field play. He lieth under the shady trees, in the covert of the reed and fens. The shady trees cover him with their shadow. The willows of the brook compass him about. Behold, he drinketh up a river, and hasteth not. He trusteth that he can draw up Jordan into his mouth. He taketh it with his eyes, his nose pierceth through snares.
Well, it wasn't a perfect impression, but it'll do. Anyway, let's consider some possibilities of how this verse about the tail may have come about. Possibility 1. It's based on a hippopotamus. Note that the description of the tail is the only part of the description that's questionable when it's applied to a hippo. All the rest seems to describe a hippo quite well. Now, if it's based on a hippo, there are a couple possibilities. The first is that the statement about the tail is just hyperbole. The author wanted it to sound bigger and more menacing. The second is that his tail isn't like a cedar, but rather only moves like a cedar, as it says. He moves his tail like a cedar. Taken this way, it describes the motion of a cedar swaying in the wind, but not necessarily the size of a cedar. Possibility 2. It's purely mythological. It's possible that some real features of an animal like a hippo and even a crocodile are blended in to ground the description in reality, which is similar to, for example, how a griffin, which has the body of a lion and the head and wings of an eagle and eagle's legs for its forelegs, doesn't actually exist, but it's made up of parts of animals that do actually exist. Possibility 3. It's based on the ancient discovery of a fossil. And possibility 4, it was a dinosaur, probably a sauropod, and lived alongside humans. Now, we can't know 100% for sure which of these possibilities is true, of course. But that doesn't mean that we have no information. We know that hyperbole occurs a quadrillion times a day. We know that fossils are found by chance, for example when they're exposed by erosion. We know that mythical creatures are invented every day, especially by fantasy authors, and we know that many have been invented in the past. For example, the griffin and cockatrice, as well as the Egyptian gods with their human bodies and heads of animals, which I'm sure that you, John, will agree are not real simply because they were written about by members of a religion. And we know that the misinterpretations of vague textual descriptions occur all the time, such as certainly could happen with "he moves his tail like a cedar," which could refer to slow, ponderous movement of a giant tail, but could also refer simply to the swaying of the tail. On the other hand, we have no evidence that dinosaurs and humans ever lived together, Carl Baugh's fake footprints and other laughable attempts at generating evidence notwithstanding. Now, I'm not going to say that any of the alternative explanations are necessarily true, but they are all possibilities that result from simple situations that we observe daily. Dinosaurs and humans living together is something that we have no experience with or evidence for, and that means that the alternatives are simpler and more likely than that dinosaurs lived with people at the time the Bible was written, and that's where the behemoth came from. Because of that, these alternatives have to be disproven before we consider the dinosaurs and humans living together mass hysteria hypothesis. By the way, check out Brett Palmer's video on dinosaurs in Job. I'll leave a link in the description. He definitely does a more thorough job at this than I do.
Noah's Ark was an enormous seagoing vessel. It was at least 437 feet long, 73 feet wide, almost 44 feet high with 3 floors. It had almost 1,400,000 cubic feet of capacity. It had a gross tonnage of 13,960 tons. It had the capacity of 522 railroad cars. And if you take the average animal the size of a sheep, there fit 125,000 land animals. One pair of every species.
In episode 12, I mentioned that you probably only believed that there were a few thousand species on the Ark. Now, I'm sure that when you say every species was on the Ark, what you really mean is kind. Funny how that term's too nonsensical for even you to bother using. Now what you're saying is that 125,280 animals, assuming an average size of a sheep, could ride on the Ark. So, how big is a sheep? Let's say that the typical sheep is about 3 feet tall, 4 feet long, and, 2 feet wide, so it has space to move its head. This makes each animal on board the Ark take up an average of 24 cubic feet when standing. Your estimate of the total cubic feet available inside the Ark is 1,396,000. So we divide that by 24 and we get 58,166 and a third. That's the number of animals, not species. You're saying that we can fit 125,280 animals, nearly double my result. So you're seriously saying to me that you think Noah took all the animals, stuffed them into boxes half as large as the animals are when they're standing up, which means that even if they fit at all, they'll have to be lying down squished on the floor, filled every cubic foot of the Ark with boxes without even leaving aisles for him to walk down to feed the animals or deal with waste, and you believe that any of the animals survived for the year that they were on board the Ark?
And of course there was room for monkeys and deer, elephants, and dinosaurs in the ark.
There was room enough for them to essentially be buried alive to die of thirst or suffocation or being crushed. Aw, ain't that a nice story for the kids?
Any animal that wasn't on the ark, or dinosaurs on the ark, they died.
So did all the animals on the ark, apparently.
But the dinosaurs that were in the ark would have survived. As we have in this one, it says, I survived the flood. And so, not only the ones that were on the ark, but also some of the marine dinosaurs could survive until today. I mean, we still have whales and fish. We have squid, seals, crabs, still alive today.
Uh-huh. But we have HD video and clear pictures of whales, fish, squid, seals, and crabs. There's a subtle difference between that and no video or clear pictures at all. I'd be more prepared to believe that ancient marine reptiles are alive today than that, for example, God exists, because at least we have solid evidence that ancient marine reptiles existed at some point. But just because this extraordinary claim is less extraordinary than another one, doesn't mean I'm just going to believe this one. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I haven't given you a chance to present your case, so alright, go ahead.
How many of you have heard of the Loch Ness Monster? Now, I don't believe in this photograph we're showing you here. This is just one of those make-up ones to sell this tabloid newspaper. But the thing is, as far as the Loch Ness Monster, he has been sighted over the last 100 years 11,000 times.
11,000 sightings and not one person had a camcorder? Honestly, when the number's that large and we still don't have a single clear picture or video of the thing, it makes your claim less believable, not more believable.
One of the park guards who worked there 30 years has seen the Loch Ness Monster 18 times.
And he didn't think to start carrying a camera after the first couple times? Also, Monkey Tale 2002 tells me that there are no park guards or rangers at Loch Ness.
Now, Loch Ness is located in Scotland, England.
Hit the phone. What was that he just said? What was that you just said, you big dobber? Are you suggesting that I'm a fucking Sassenach? That my beautiful bonny Scotland is in fucking England? Think again, you daft cunt. I'm nae taking any of that pish fae likes of you understand me? I wan by your head, you glaikit puddock. A right fucking genius you are if you can't tell that Scotland's a country in its own right. That Scotland's an older nation than England is. I was supposed to take interest stuff from you as fucking gospel. Get to fuck, you prick. Fucking hell. See you toomshy head. You listen here. You take your face like a skelt arse and you open up a map and learn something for once, you fucking neephead. Just pock my horn. I mean, a wee bairn has more in its head up here than you fucking do. And you're fucking an ancient cunt. What you're peddling, that pish you are peddling. Aye, that shite you're peddling, alright. That pure gives me the bulk, so it does. Why don't you just go fuck yourself and let your wife go off and give the intelligent guys a wee reward by giving a gobble? You might find yourself doing something useful. You fucking cunt.
In the 1970s, they set up a system of two different boats, one with a camera mounted with a strobe light, kind of a flash apparatus, and then another sonar further on back to perceive movement in the water. And they were able to take this photograph in the 1970s it's from the Academy of Applied Science, and that's a picture of the Loch Ness Monster that was taken then.
Impressive.
Amongst the many reports of the Loch Ness Monster, we have these two drawings that artists have been able to put together based on what people had seen and how they described them. And so those are a couple of the drawings that have come along.
Remember your mantra, John. It's just a drawing, and drawings are not science. If you're going to insist over and over and over throughout a series of videos that drawings are not science and should be disregarded, you can't use drawings as evidence. It doesn't work that way. It's especially funny because the drawings that you complain about the journalists making for Newsweek and stuff are at least based on something. It may not be much. Sometimes it's way less than it should be because they're popular magazines for idiots and they don't care about getting things right, but at least it's something. In your case, it's based on nothing at all. Some guy says, I saw the Loch Ness Monster and it looked like it had flippers and a long neck. And then some other guy draws a plesiosaur.
And here we have two photographs of the different monsters. The top photograph was taken by Sandy Mancy in 1977. This is of Champ, the monster there in Lake Champlain. You can see kind of a hump, the neck going up and the head.
Interesting. So I looked up this picture to see if I could get one that's better than your shitty quality. And here's what I found. Now, let me just zoom into this a bit so you can see sort of the coloration and the shape. Now, once I saw this at full detail and zoomed in, you want to know the first thing I thought? This is an arbutus tree. They grow along the west coast of North America. When you go swimming there and you go floating in the water, if there happens to be arbutus along the shore and they drop branches in, you often see weird shapes sticking out of the water. It's actually kind of creepy sometimes. Now, what does this branch look like to you if I do this? Piece breaks off, drops in the water, bottom part gets waterlogged, weighs it down, Champ. Now, I'm not entirely sure what kind of trees they have in Vermont, but it sure seems loggy to me.
The bottom photograph is from Nessie, or Loch Ness Monster. You can see the different humps, the long neck, and the mouth being open.
Well, at least the Champ photo was interesting enough to look up. This one's not even worth it.
Our oldest daughter lived in Denver, and a couple of years ago, the pastors of her church went to Scotland, and the wife told me that while she was there, she went on the tour bus along Lake Loch Ness.
Lake Loch Ness in Scotland, England.
And she said, John, when the bus turned around to go back to its initial starting point, I looked out over the lake and I saw this gigantic snake in the water. Then I realized I had seen the Loch Ness Monster. John, I believe in the Loch Ness Monster. I saw it. I saw it. So that's testimony there.
She might really believe it, but it sounds like she has a history of believing in mythical beings that she's never seen. I doubt very much that the pastor's wife is an atheist. Now don't get me wrong, that doesn't make her Nessie claim untrue, but for me it does raise a small flag regarding her standards of evidence. In addition, I don't trust you to tell me the truth. I don't know her. I don't know her credentials. I don't know her credibility, and she has no evidence except, I believe it. So that's about your least convincing one so far.
Also, actually there's 50 lakes in the world where there are sightings of large, unknown creatures in their waters.
50 lakes where random people say they've seen them, and no lakes where anyone's ever dragged one out of the water for evidence. No lakes where anyone's ever taken a clear picture. No lakes where anyone's ever filmed one. No lakes where they've been found definitively by sonar. No lakes where automatic cameras have taken clear pictures of them. You're claiming these things live in 50 lakes, and no one has ever managed to provide any substantial evidence for them. What do you think is happening anyway? Do you think that in each lake there's just a male and a female, and every generation they're just producing a male and a female? Because, I mean, the population never seems to go up. There never seem to be enough for anyone to notice. What is it, like a traditional thing that they do? I mean, they must die off at some point, so there has to be reproduction happening. Or is there contention that each of these lakes just has one immortal monster? You know, these are pretty tough questions when you have one lake to deal with. When you're saying now that you have 50, don't you see how that actually makes your argument weaker?
Now, the best sightings of Ogopogo are these two photographs that we have. This first one, I want you to notice just left of center, the large sailboat there on the water. And in front of that sailboat, you can see a line of wave, just one wave. Something is moving just below the surface of the water, creating one large wave. Now, in the next photograph, that sailboat, because of the movement of the boat we're on, and the sailboat is further to the right, but that wave has come closer to us. Something big is moving a lot of water close to the surface of the water. That's one of the best photographs we've been able to locate until this time.
Whoa, wow. That's tough to justify. A wave on a lake. Whew.
This next one is a very kind of an unusual one I just downloaded from the internet. It's about a purple frog. You say, well, big deal, purple frog. Well, they say this purple frog actually walked amongst the legs of dinosaurs. It's supposedly some survivor of some millions of years. 230 million years ago, it walked amongst the dinosaur legs. Well, if the frog is still alive, why couldn't we still have some dinosaurs alive?
When you say this purple frog, do you mean this purple frog? Or do you mean this species of purple frog? If you mean the species, how is that in any way remarkable, especially if you're a person who believes in Noah's flood? And if you mean the frog, then I kind of feel like I should start being gentler with you because it's pretty mean to argue with a mentally challenged person.
Greetings, Oracle of Toronto. Bonjour, Oracle of Toronto.
Well, if it isn't Mistopheles and... Where the fuck you are, Frenchie?
It's Mephistopheles. Mephistopheles is a character in Cats. Why does everyone get that wrong?
And I am not French. I am le prophète de l'Islam. And I am Arabic, as you can tell by my evident Arabic accent.
What do you want?
We know that you hate logic. We need your advice on how to kill him. Are you
As fascinating as that is, and as much as I would love to help you,
What are you
can't kill Logic, because he's already dead.
Oh no, it cannot be so. Are you certain?
Yes, I am absolutely 100% sure that he is dead.
No! What are we going to do? I wanted revenge so badly.
Now get out of my office.
But
I'm
we
trying.
need-
I'm
we
trying.
need-
I'm
We need
trying.
you.
I'm
Okay,
trying.
Okay, you go first.
Now, if you would kindly leave, so I can finish watching my pornography.
But we need your advice on how we can take our revenge.
Get out of my office!
Well, you didn't have to be a dick about it. Oh, Muhammad, what are we going to do? Logic is dead. All of our plans are done.
It is true, Mephistopheles. We cannot take our revenge on the living Logic. But I have a plan. Let us check the obituaries in les papiers. Then we can find the location and time of the funeral.
In the Congo, Africa, we have one of the largest swamps of the world, 7.5 million acres. And in that swamp, for over a century now, we have reports of sightings of Mokele Membi. In their language, it translates, he that blocks the river. It's related that some of the natives captured and killed one of these Mokele Membis, tasted the flesh, they didn't like it, abandoned the carcass there. There are people that want to get into the Congo to do some investigating on that abandoned carcass. There's a number of internal problems in the Congo that doesn't make, and of course it's not really convenient. There's no superhighway going through this world's largest swamp.
So the story is, some natives caught an animal in the river, they tossed it back, and nobody investigated it. What's your point?
The Congo borders to the east with Tanzania. Tanzania has this postal stamp, which their government made, of an Edmondsaurus, based on reports of their natives and what they had sighted in their swamp areas. Very interesting.
Seriously? You just showed a Canadian stamp with a picture of Ogopogo on it. Is that evidence that Ogopogo is real? Actually, don't answer that. I know what you'll say, so I'll make it real easy for you. The answer is no.
These two photographs come from Monterey, California, near San Francisco, California, that in 1925, the head and some 20 feet of neck of a plesiosaur, this is actually an Alamosaurus, but very similar, a plesiosaur, washed up on the beach there of Monterey, California. Notice this comment. No credible explanation has ever been made to explain it. other than that plesiosaurs still living in the Pacific Ocean. Still alive. Plesiosaurs.
Notice this comment, blah 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 blah. Whose comment? For all I know, that was from a cryptozoology forum. Anyway, honestly, that looks just like a dolphin or a beaked whale or something. Very unconvincing. And you know what another funny thing is? Take a look at these pictures. What do they all have in common? In particular, look at the pictures with people in them. You have the people way in the background and the animal way in the foreground, so it looks huge compared to the people. In the pictures where people aren't there, nobody's holding anything up to get a sense of scale either. It's almost like these pictures were taken with the intention of making it difficult to get a sense of scale.
In New Mexico, Acapulco, Mexico, Venezuela, South America, Africa, we still have sightings to date of pterodactyls, those large flying reptiles or flying dinosaurs.
Yeah, seriously, how'd that pterosaur hunt go? Did you catch that whole family of pterosaurs you told Carl Baugh you were going to catch? I'm sure that expedition was a complete success, right?
Now, they tend to be more nocturnal.
And have poison breath, so don't go looking for them yourself.
And they tend to be more like scavengers in that on one occasion it was related that a tribal person in Papua New Guinea the man was dying. In fact, he was so dying that he absolutely was putrefying. And he was walking ever so slowly, and one of these pterodactyls swooped down and picked him up and carried him off. And either because he was struggling or the pterodactyl realized he was alive, finally let him drop, and I think that probably ended his life.
You think that probably ended his life, so you don't know. You don't even know how the story ends, so clearly you don't even have second-hand information. Where are you getting this? A picture book?
But the natives testify that if they don't bury their dead deep enough in the ground, that these pterodactyls will come at night and actually dig up the dead bodies and carry them off.
Do they specifically say that it's pterodactyls coming down and carrying them off, or do they say it's animals digging them up and taking them away? Because in that video with Carl Baugh in Science in the 12th Century episode 1, you talked about goats disappearing and things like that, but nothing that actually indicated that it was a pterodactyl.
All of the dinosaur fossils that we find, all of them are always encased in stone or rock that before was mud carried by water action all over the world. Think of that. All of the dinosaur bones that we find are encased in rock that used to be mud transported by water all over the earth. What does that sound like? It sounds like the flood.
No, it sounds like how fossils form. What do you expect to happen? A dinosaur dies and sinks into solid rock? Or a dinosaur dies and gets covered with lava and somehow is preserved during the transition to igneous rock?
Here we have an example of mass burial, not just dinosaur bones, but we also have clams and seashells. Here we have the head of a deer, all buried together by water. It sounds like the flood to me.
Alright, several problems. Number one, I can't see what you're talking about. You present this image that's just a jumble of random shapes. You're saying it's dinosaurs and clams and deers and all kinds of stuff, but I can't distinguish any of that. You have to point it out and get better pictures. Problem 2. Text searches returned nothing. Deer fossil with dinosaur fossil. Various things like that, they return nothing. Problem number 3. Google's search by image returns nothing for that image. I don't know where you're getting this from, and you provide no relevant information, so I can simply discount your claim. If you would provide the relevant information, if you really think it's such a strong piece of evidence, maybe it actually is. But as it is, I can't verify it, and so there's no point even presenting it because I'm just going to reject it out of hand.
Now, what happened to the dinosaurs that were on the ark? Well, remember that big canopy of water that was up above? That came down. And so now they come out to a new world. The atmospheric pressure is lowering.
Every single plant is dead, so the herbivores have nothing to eat. The carnivores have nothing to eat because they can't eat the herbivores because the herbivores have to reproduce. The 1 or 2 animals on board the ark that managed to escape thirst, suffocation, or crushing for a year die of starvation.
There's now harmful radiation from the sun, ultraviolet light, X-rays, cosmic rays. Now we have seasons. The first time it talks about springtime and harvest, summer and winter. There's more competition for food.
Sure, yeah, all those. Well, except more competition for food, because every single macroscopic organism on the planet, including all the ones on the Ark, is dead.
Also in Genesis 9:3 it says, God says, every moving thing that lives shall be food for you. Even as the green herb have I given you all things. Man could now eat meat. Hey, just think about it. We kill a dinosaur, we could have dinosaur tacos for a whole year.
And if we killed one of those elephants the Earth rides on, we could eat forever.
That'd be fantastic. Also, it was a thing of being a real man. It talks about a guy from Babylon named Gilgamesh that he went into a cave and cut off the head of the dragon, took it as his trophy. It was a thing of killing the dragon.
As usual, you don't make it clear what you're talking about, but I'm assuming that you mean Humbaba from the Epic of Gilgamesh, because obviously when you're talking about a dragon slaying, it's mythical, which means that it's probably from the Epic of Gilgamesh, and Humbaba's the only thing in there that I think would make any sense at all in this case. Mainly that's just because he's a giant who breathes fire that Gilgamesh has to kill to be a hero. It doesn't say anything about him being a dragon though, apparently his face looks more like a lion's. Now I love how you interpret Gilgamesh killing an obviously sentient giant as him killing what you show in your picture as a sauropod. Do you think that dinosaurs could speak or something? I mean, I know that you think that they're dragons and that dragons often speak in fantasy novels, but I thought that you were trying to keep the nature of dinosaurs generally grounded in reality. And do you believe in the rest of the Epic of Gilgamesh? The polytheism? All the different gods talking to people and stuff?
In Europe, as late as the 1500s, there was a well-known science book that claims that dragons were not extinct in the 1500s. A scientist named Ulisse Aldrovandi described a small dragon seen along a farm road in northern Italy. The date was May 13th, 1572. The poor farmer was taking his livestock and got scared by the dragon. He just hit it on the head with his stick and killed it. He later had it stuffed and mounted.
Okay, so you believe this thing that Ulisse Aldrovandi says. Does that mean that you believe pretty much everything he writes in his book, because apparently he's a reliable source? And if what's in his books is so reliable, does that mean that these exist too? And that's followed by 6 minutes of preaching, which I'm skipping. So that's that.
If none of you idiots are going to give my husband a proper eulogy, I'll do it myself. Step aside, key chicken.
Uncle Lucifer, I'm bored. Can we leave and go to the erotic petting zoo again?
No, stop asking. I told your father I wouldn't take you there anymore.
My husband Logic was such a special man. He made me feel so sensual. And
Hey, Eve! Take Osama bin Laden to the face! Ah, Logic sucks! He was a terrible person, and we are going to ruin his funeral for revenge!
oh no, Mephistopheles has your old beard, Yahweh. What hope have we of withstanding such might?
Logic was a freaking weirdo. Why did he wear 3D glasses all the time? He was never looking at anything 3D.
Go away! We're trying to have a funeral!
Hey, Eve, are you tired of that wiener Logic? How about you come and take another ride on the serpent?
Shut up! Stop it!
Logic, he was a bastard. He left me in prison. You don't leave a man in prison just because he is a child molester. That is simply cruel. Do you have any idea how much the child molesters get the butt rape in prison?
Stop it, you bullies! I mean it!
What are you going to do about it, you wuss?
I don't know.
And you know what the worst thing about Logic was? His taste in music. That horrible screamy garbage he listened to isn't music. The only music worth listening to is Wagner.
That's it! You can insult my dead friend, you can ruin his funeral, and you can sexually harass his widow, but you will not insult his taste in music!
Zutalos!
Oh, why'd you have to die, buddy? I can't eat, I can't sleep, even though I've been working all week. I just wish you'd come back and... Hey! Logic! You're here!
Hey, Yahweh. I was wondering when you'd show up. What took you so long?
I don't know. I mean, of course you're here. I never even thought of that.
Huh. You'd think you would've. Anyway, hey, listen, it's great to see you and everything, but I've been here for like a week, and I am really bored. I mean, all there is to look at here is white. Do you think you could send me back to Earth now?
I'd really love to, Logic, I really would, but I've already resurrected you once, and I would never hear the end of it if I resurrected you a second time before I resurrected Jesus a second time.
Okay, well, could you bring him back first, and then bring me back?
No, that greasy little bastard is staying right where he is, for good this time.
So that's it then. I'm dead.
Yeah, you're pretty much dead.
Well, I guess I can handle that, but you know, it's still really boring up here. Do you think I could at least get sent to Lucifer's place so that I can hang out with him? You know, I mean, he can't come into heaven, but at least you can visit there. Makes more sense, right?
Sure, yeah, that makes sense, I can do that.
Logic. Any place you have communicated with from heaven cannot be communicated with from Lucifer's place, because it is now sacred ground, and that means that you will not be able to communicate with John Pendleton's location.
It is a heavy price, but it is one that I am willing to pay, to not be bored.
Please stay tuned. We've got lots more to share.
No, John, I'm afraid I have to go.
God bless you. We'll see you soon.
Oh, jeez, Yahweh, he thinks he's gonna see me soon. Okay, John? Hey, listen, buddy. Logic has to go away for a while. You'll need to take care of yourself, okay? Can you be a big, strong guy and get along without me?
Take the control of my life. Change me. Help me to know you and to do what's pleasing in your sight.
Oh, no, I'm not leaving you because I don't like you. It's not like that. I still like you. I just don't want to stay in heaven where it's so damn boring.
Thank you that you've forgiven me.
Sure thing, buddy. Alright, Yahweh, let's do this.
Troll 2 party on Saturday, right?
As always. Sup, Lucifer?
Sup, Lodge?
You don't seem surprised.
I'm not, really. I heard it's boring in heaven. Nothing to do all day but hang out with Yahweh. Sounds hellish.
I guess. Anyway, nice place you have here.
Thanks.
What's with the cross?
What do you mean?
It seems kinda out of place.
Why?
Do I really need to explain this?
I'm a Christian, didn't you know?
You're a Christian? Why?
I believe in the salvation of mankind through the sacrificial death of the Lord Jesus Christ.
Bullshit.
Alright. Jesus is really, really bad at poker, and he won't play with non-Christians. He's the only reason I own this cathedral free and clear.
Ha nice. You know, that chemist scientist John Morris Pendleton guy always tried to come up with reasons that I should convert, but none of them were as good as that.